Hey everyone, Morgan here. So today I'm going to be talking about a longer term food system for your bug out bag. So like food procurement instead of just storing food in your bug out bag, ways to actually find food, get food, things like that. So I'm going to be talking about a variety of methods, that you could think about having in your bug out bag. And I'm just going to be offering suggestions, okay? There are lots of ways to procure food, but when we think about procuring food, we have to think about the skills that come along with it. So for instance, Eric's from Rule the Wasteland or the Lord Humongous, however you know him, he has the survival fishing kit. Well, you not only know how to fish, right, fishing in your area or wherever you are that you're bugging out to, um, also how to use all of the items in your fishing kit, whatever you were to use. So a good fishing kit can go a long way. You could also add some sort of netting to your kit so you can get like little fish or some other sea life that maybe you can't get with like a rod or something. But with things like this, you could actually make a fishing pole out of a stick. But there are also fishing poles that are like extendable and collapsible rather. They are extendable, but they're collapsible, so you just extend them out and they're nice and compact. There's also one by K-Bar, a couple pictures here that I haven't tested out yet, but those are good options. So, fishing, definitely good. Obviously you can always make your own fishing kit, or if you find a really good fishing kit, the survival fishing kit, then, you could use that. There's also other tools that you can use, like Grimm Workshop has these tools that you can utilize with things that you make. So you could make a spear, you could make, a fishing spear, just a regular spear. You could make arrowheads, like an arrow, and then use the arrowheads, this would be for the spear. And then you have the arrowheads here, and there are fishing hooks here as well. A variety of different things. Actually, Grimm has a variety of different kind of fishing and hunting kits. Along with this, you might want to have obviously something like, a really good knife. I think a really good knife is going to go a long way regardless. If you get an animal that say, let's say you use your arrow and you get, a squirrel, okay, you're going to need a knife to help you skin it. Of course, you could always skin it, get a really sharp rock or something like that, but a knife is just going to be really helpful, okay? So for most of these purposes, a knife is going to come in handy for your procurement, and I like to have a big hefty knife, to chop wood, to skin, to do whatever I need to do, to make a spear, whatever. You can have the little moras, whatever you want, right? It's totally, knives are totally personal preference. Well, everything is, but anyway, so these little cards are nice. Definitely go to Grimm Workshop, and I'm going to put links down below to all this stuff. Again, you can make an arrow very easy. You can even make a bow very easy out in the field. They also do have collapsible bows, like survival bows and stuff like that, as you can see over here. So they do have those options as well. But, again, like the fishing kit, with archery, a spear, the fishing spear, all these kinds of things, you need to know how to actually use these things. They're not as easy to make as people think they are. I say it's easy, right? But for other people, it may not be so easy. It's maybe not so easy to use, right? You may not know exactly how to use a stripped down bare, recurve bow that you've just made out in the field. They're going to act a lot different than, a fully, manufactured bow that is all decked out or whatever, or a compound bow or whatever. Even a recurve bow that comes from a manufacturer is going to act differently than, a bow that you just make out of, a couple sticks, right? A stick and paracord, no less, is probably what you would make it out of, out in the field. You can also make your own little PVC pipe bow if you want to take that as like your survival bow or whatever. But again, with all this stuff, you want to practice with this stuff. You want to make sure that you know how to utilize these things, before, you know, you're putting them in your bag and making sure that you're relying on these as a system of long-term, you know, food procurement. In addition to archery, you know, if you plan to hunt with a firearm, you know, like let's say your plan is to carry like a 10-22 or something, you know, with your bug out bag, you know, along with the ammo, right? The ammunition. I was about to say ammunition, there's an ammo, blah. Anyway, you know, you're going to want to actually know how to hunt, you know, I mean, hunting is not just, you know, finding an animal real quick. I mean, sometimes it could be really difficult to find the animals, and you also have to keep in mind the type of hunting that you'll most likely be doing will be small game hunting. You know, large game hunting, you know, if you have a large family, that might be good, you know, plus ways to preserve your meat if you are hunting big game, right? Deer, anything, you know, bigger than white-tailed deer, basically. So with large game, you are going to want to know ways to preserve that meat instead of, you know, letting it all go to waste. Now, of course, you know, something out in the wild will get that, but you want to just make sure that, you know, you're getting as much from that animal that you just took the life of, right? And then, you know, with all this stuff, you know, you may want binoculars and things so that you're not wasting a lot of energy to find certain things. You know, if you can get to high ground and, you know, you can use the binoculars to see, you know, animals or plants or water, or whatever it is that you need to look at, you know, without wasting a lot of time walking around, expending all this energy, you know, when you're trying to find food. You know, that's helpful as well. Also, knowing how to track animals. You know, knowing tracks, you know, and tracking, so identifying tracks and identifying how to track animals. Patience is also a big key with fishing and hunting specifically. Something else that you could do is carry sprouts with you. In a recent video, I showed that you can pretty much sprout in any container. Just as long as you have a little bit of water and you have, you know, 3 or 4 days, you know, for it to sprout. Really good nutrients, and they last quite a while. So, you know, you can get a ton of sprouts, you know, just from just a few seeds. So, you know, this comes with a ton of seeds. So this could actually last quite a while. And then, of course, you know, along with that to supplement, you know, these are supplementations, you know, wild edibles, knowing wild edibles. So having a wild edible book for your region or wherever region you plan to bug out to is going to be extremely helpful. Something else that you may end up doing is eating bugs. You know, a lot of people say, ew, gross, but I mean, we're talking about long-term bugging out, long-term survival situation kind of stuff. So, you know, if you're hungry and you're trying to procure food and you can't find that small game and, you know, your fishing's really out of luck, then bugs are right there, right? Not all season and all year long, maybe in some areas, but generally, you know, you could find some type of bugs. Okay, so I made this survival kit a while ago, and it has this is actually Titan cord. It has, you know, like a fire starter in it, a fishing line. It has a whole bunch of stuff in here, snare wire, all that stuff. Plus, I also have snare wire inside here. So, you know, this is like a system as well that you could, you know, take just as like an additional system. And then this is the Boss Fishing and Hunting Kit. I really like this little kit because it comes with just a whole bunch of stuff like slingshot ammo. You could make a slingshot out in the field, and a slingshot is a great tool to use for like small game. You know, it could be pretty good for that, you know, but with a slingshot, you know, you think you're going to make one out in the field, try to make one now, you know, not when you need to know, you know, not when you're out in the field and you're like, oh, I'm just going to make a slingshot. Ooh, I don't know how to make a slingshot, right? I've never done it before. Make one now just so you know what to expect when you're actually out in the real field of survival, right? And, you know, this does come with the slingshot band as well. So all you would need is the slingshot, actual, you know, the wood. And so then this comes with bank line. It comes with a yo-yo reel. It also comes with snare wire. So you could set up snares, things like that. And there are lots of primitive type traps and snares that you'll want to learn. Now, there are books and little guides that you can have for your bug out bag, your BONCH, your inch, whatever you have, that will teach you how to do this stuff. But again, with all this stuff, I'm going to keep repeating it. With all this stuff of food procurement, for your bug out bag, for long-term food procurement with fishing, hunting, wild edibles, bugs, trapping, snares, whatever it is, archery, the slingshot, whatever it is, you need to practice and do it now. You need to have those skills in place now, long before anything ever happens, so that you know what to expect. Not only that, but you know how difficult it might be. What tools you're going to need. You're going to learn a lot by actually doing. Learning the theory is not enough. You really have to know by doing in a lot of these cases, especially when you're in a controlled environment right now, and that you can make changes, learn, and figure stuff out now, instead of when you're in a survival situation and you can't look up a YouTube video, right? Or you don't have the proper books or whatever to help you through this. Okay, anyway, I'm going to put a bunch of links down below to some of the stuff I've mentioned, and if you guys have anything else to add, please do so. There's a lot of stuff we can do besides just throwing in some mountain houses in our bug out bags, more longer term food procurement. Thank you all so much for watching. Conquer tomorrow by preparing today. Talk to y'all later. Bye.